Tom arrived at home in an early mood, and the first thing his aunt said to him showed him that he had brought his sorrows to an oppressing market. "Tom, I've nothing to skin your life. Auntie, what have I done?" "Well, you've done a lot. Here I go over to Shirley Harper. Like an old soft spaghetti, I'm going to make her believe other rivets about that dream when all and behold, you should found on that you were over here and hear all the talk we had that night. Tom, I don't know what is it to become a boy that we got like that. It made me feel so bad to think you could let me go to Shirley Harper and make me such a fool of myself and never say a word." This was a new aspect of fatigue. His smartest of the morning had seemed to Tom a good joke before, and very ingenious. But Merlin looked mean and sheepy now. He shook his head and would not think of anything to say for a moment. Then he said, "Auntie, I wish I had done it, but I didn't think it. Oh, child, you never think. You never think of anything but your just selfishness. You could think to come all the way over here from Jackson's Island in the night to laugh about your troubles, and you could think to fool me with a lie of a dream. But you couldn't have anything to pity us and save us from sorrow. Auntie, I know now it was a dream, but I didn't mean to be mean. I didn't I didn't honest. And besides, I didn't come over here to laugh at you that night. What did you come for then? It was to tell you to not uneasy about us, because we had got good ground. Tom, I would definitely somewhere in this world if I would believe you were had as good a job as them, but you know you never did, and I know it, Tom. Indeed I did, Ollie. I wish I were never steer if I didn't. Oh, Tom, don't lie, don't do it. It makes things 100 times worse. It ain't a lie, Auntie, it's the truth. I wanted to keep you from grieving, that was what made me come. And if the whole world believed that, it would cover up a power of sin stuff. I'm not be glad to run off and act so bad, but it ain't reasonable. Because, why you didn't tell me, child? Why, you see, when you got to talking about the funeral, I just got all full of the idea of you coming and hiding in the church. And I couldn't so remember to spoil it, I just put the bar back in the pocket and get mum. What bar? The guy had heard me to tell we got bragging. I wish now you'd wake up and he said I'd be honest. The hard lines in his outfit and the casual tenderness dropped in her eyes. "Did you kiss me, Tom?" "Why, yes, I did. Are you sure you did, Tom?" "Why, yes, I did, Alice. Are you sure? Why did you kiss me for, Tom?" "Because I loved you so I hid it there morning and I was sorry." The words sounded like truth. The old lady could not hide a tremor in her voice when she said, "Kiss me again, Tom. I'm able to go to school now and don't bother me anymore." The moment he was gone, she moved to the closet and got the ring of a jacket which she was operating in. Then she stopped with her hand and said to herself, "No, I don't care for more. I reckon he'll die about it. It is a blessed, blessed life. There's a comfort come from it. I hope the Lord, I know the Lord will forgive him, because if I should have prejudice in him to tell it. But I don't want to find out it's a lie. It won't look. I won't look." She put the jacket away and stood by measuring a minute. Twice she put on her hands to take the garment again, and twice she refrained. Once more she ventured, and this time she fortified herself with the thought, "It's a good lie, it's a good lie. I won't let it grieve me." So she sought the jacket pocket. A moment later she was reading Tom's piece of bark. She fell in tears and said, "I can forgive the boy now, if he committed a million sins."
There was something about Aunt Polly's manner when she kissed Tom that swept away his low spirit and made him light-hearted and happy again. He started to school and had the look of coming upon Becky Thatcher at the head of Meldon Lane. His mood always determined his manner, without a moment's hesitation. He ran to her and said, "I acted mighty mean today, Becky, and I'm so sorry. I will not ever do that way again." As long as ever I live, please make up for not you. The gear stopped and looked him scornfully in the face. I'll thank you that keep yourself to yourself, Mr. Thomas Sawyer. I'll never speak to you again. She tossed her head and passed on. Tom was so stunned that he had not even presence of mind enough to say, "Who cares, Miss Smarty?" until the right time to say it had come by. So he said nothing, but he was in a fine rage. Nevertheless, he mopped into the schoolyard, wishing she were a boy, and imagining how he would torture her if she were. He presently encouraged her and delivered a stinging remark as they passed. She hurled one in return, and the angry breach was complete. I seemed to Becky in her hot resentment that she could hardly wait for school to take in. She was so impatient to see Tom flogged for the injured spelling book. If she had had any lingering notion of exposing Alfred Temple, Tom's offensive flying had driven it entirely away. Poor girl. She did not know how fast she was nearing trouble herself. The master, Mr. Dobbins, had reached middle age with unsatisfied ambitions. The darling of his desire was to be a doctor, but poverty had decreed that he should be nothing higher than a PS schoolmaster. Every day he took a mysterious book out of his desk and absorbed himself in it at a time when no class were visiting. He kept that book under lock and key. There was not an urging in school, but was pershing to have a glimpse of it. But the change never came. Every boy and girl had a theory about the nature of that book, but no two theories were alike. And there was no way of getting at the facts in the case. No, as Becky was passing by the desk, which stood near the door. They noticed that the key was in the lock. It was a precious moment. She glanced around, found herself alone, and the next instant she had the book in her hands. The title page, Professor Somebody's Anatomy, carried no information to her mind, so she began to turn the leaves. She came at once upon a handsomely engraved and colored frontispiece. A human figure stark naked. At the moment a shadow fell on the page and Tom Sawyer stepped in at the door and caught a glimpse of the picture. Becky snatched at the book to close it, and had the hard look to tear the pictured page half down the middle. She thrust the volume into the desk, turned the key, and burst out crying with shame and vexation. Tom Sawyer, you're just as mean as you can be to snark up on a person and look at what they are looking at. How could I know you was looking at anything? You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Tom Sawyer. You know you are going to tell on me. And oh, what shall I do? What shall I do? I'll be whipped, and I never was whipped in school. Then she stamped her little foot and said, "Be so, man, if you was too. I know something that's going to happen. You just wait and you'll see. Hateful, hateful, hateful!" And she flew out of the house with a new explosion of cry. Tom stood till water flustered by this onslaught. Presently he said to himself, "What a curious kind of a fool a girl is. Never been like it in the school. Shirks, what's a licking? That's just like a girl. There are so thin skinned and chicken hearted. Well, of course, I ain't not going to tell all Dobbins of this little fool because there's other way of getting even on her that ain't so ma'am, but was of it. All Dobbins will ask what it was tore his book. Nobody will answer. Then he'll do just the way he always does. At first one and then the other, and when he comes to the right gear, he'll know it without any telling. Girl face always tell on them. They ain't no got any backbone. She'll get like it. Well, it's a kind of a thick place for Becky Thatcher because there ain't any way out of it. Don't connect the thing a moment longer and then added, "Alright, throw she'd like to see me in just such a fix. Let her squat it out." Tom joined the mob of skylarking scholars outside. In a few moments, the master arrived and school took in. Tom did not feel a stronger interest in his studies. Every time he stole a glance at the geared side of the room, Becky's face troubled him. Considering all things, he did not want to pity her, and yet it was all he could do to keep help it. He could get up no exultation that was really worthy the name. Presently the spelling book discovery was made, and Tom's mind was entirely full of his own matter of a while after that. Becky rose up from her lethargy of distress and showed good interest in the proceedings. She did not expect that Tom could get out of his trouble beginning that he spilled to ink on the book himself, and she was right. The Daniel only seemed to make the thing worse for Tom. Blackwood supported that she would be glad of that, and she tried to believe she was glad of it, but she found she was not certain. When the words came, the words she had an impulsive to get up and tell Alfred Temple, but she made an effort and forced herself to keep still, because, said she to herself, he'll tell about me tearing the picture, so I'll not say a word, not to save his life. Tom took his whipping ink and went back to his set, not at all broken hearted, for he wrote it was possible that he had unknowingly upset the ink on the spelling book himself in some skylarking book he had denied it for form's sake and because it was custom and had stung to the denial from principle. A wall or drifter by the master sat nodding in his throne. The air was drowsy with the hum of study. By and by, Mr. Dobbins straightened himself up, yawned, and unlocked his desk. And reached for his book, but seemed undecided whether to take it out or leave it. Most of the pupils glanced up languidly, but there was two among them that watched his mom moved with intent eyes. Mr. Dobbins fingered his book absently for a while, then took it out and settled himself in his chair to wait. Tom shot a glance at Becky. He had seen a hunted and helpless rabbit lot as she did, with a hum leveled at its head. Instantly he forgot his quarrel with her. Kicked sometime must be done in a flash, too. But the very imminence of the emergency paralyzed his invention. Good. He had an inspiration. He would run and snatch the book, sprang through the door and fly. but his resolution shocked for a little instant, and the chain was lost. The master opened the volume. If Tom only had the wasted opportunity back again. Too late. There was no help for Becky now, he said. The next moment, the master faced the school. Every eight sank under his gaze. There was that in it which smote even the innocent with fear. There was silent while one might count them. The master was gathering his breath. Then he spoke, watering his book. There was not a sound. One could have heard a pine drop. The stillness continued. The master researched face after face for sign of guilt. Benjamin Burger, did you tear his book? Daniel, another pause. Joseph's carpet, did you?
Another Daniel Tom's uneasiness grew more and more intense under the slow torture of these proceedings. The master scanned the ranks of boys, considered a while, then turned to the girls. Amy Lawrence, a shake of the head, Gracie Miller, the same thing, Susan Harper. Did you do this? Another negative. The next girl was Becky Thatcher. Tom was trembling from head to foot with excitement and a sense of hopelessness of the situation. Rebecca Thatcher, Tom glanced at her face. It was white with terror. Did you dare? No. Look me in the face. Her hands rose in appeal. Did you tear this book? A thought shot like lightning through Tom's brain. He sprang to his feet and shouted, I done it. The school stared in perplexity at this incredible folly. Tom stood a moment to gather his dismembered faculties, and when he stepped forward to go to his punishment, the surprise, the gratitude, the adoration that shone upon him out of poor Becky's eyes seemed paid enough for 100 florins. Inspired by the splendor of his own act, he took without an outcry the most merciless flaying that even Mr. Dobbins had ever administered, and also received with indifference the added cruelty of a command to remain 2 hours after school should be dismissed, for he knew who would wait for him outside till his captivity was done, and not count the tedious time a lost either. Tom went to bed that night planning vengeance against Alfred Temple, for with shame and repentance Becky had told him all, not forgetting her own treachery. But even the longing for vengeance had to give way some to pleasanter maskings, and he fell asleep at last with Becky's last word lingering dreamily in his ear. Tom, how could you be so noble? Chapter 21. Vacation was approaching. The schoolmaster, always ever greasier and more exciting than ever, for he wanted the school to make a good showing on examination day. His wrath and his fury were seldom idle now, at less among the smaller pupils. Only the biggest boys and young ladies of 18 and 20 escaped lunching. Mr. David's lashings were very vigorous ones, too, for although he carried under his wig a perfectly bald and shiny head, he had only reached middle age, and there was no sign of feebleness in his muscle. As the great day approached, all the tyranny that was in him came to the surface. He seemed to take a vindictive pleasure in punishing the less shortcomings. The consequence was the smaller boys spent their days in terror and suffering, and their nights in plotting revenge. They threw away no opportunity to do the master a mischief, but he kept ahead all the time. The retribution that followed every vengeful success was sweeping and majestic, that the boys always retired from the field badly worsted. At last they conspired together and hit upon a plan that promised dazzling victory. They swore in the Saint Painter boy told him the sham and asked his help. He had his own reasons for being delighted, for the master burdened his father family and had given the boy ample cause to hate him. The master wife would go on visit to the country a few days, and and there would be nothing to interfere with the plan. The master always prepared himself for great occasions by getting pretty full while fatigued, and the St. Painter boy said that when the examinee had reached the proper condition on examination evening, he would manage the thing while he napped on his chair, and he would have him awakening at the right time and hurried away to school. In the fullness of time, this interesting occasion arrived at 8 in the evening. The schoolhouse was brilliantly lighted and adorned with wreaths and festoons of foliage and flowers. The master sat throned in his great chair upon a raised platform, with his blackboard behind him. He was looking tolerably mellow. 3 rows of benches on each side and 6 rows in front of him were occupied by the dignitaries of the town and by the parents of the pupils. To his left, back of the rows of citizens, was a spacious temporary platform upon which were seated the scholars who were to take part in the exercise of the evening rouse of small boys, washed and dressed to an intolerable state of discomfort. Rows of gawky big boys, snowbanks of girls and young ladies clad in lace and muslin and conspicuously conscious of their bare arms, their grandmothers' ancient trinkets, their bits of pink and blue ribbon, and the flowers in their hair. All the rest of the house was filled with non-participating scholars. The exercises began. A very little boy stood up and sheepishly recited, "You exarchs expect one of my age to speak in public on the stage," etc., accompanying himself with a painful exact and spasmodic gestures which a machine might have used. Supposing the machine to be a trifle out of order, but he got through safely through really scared and got a fine round of applause when he made his manufactured bow and retired.
A little shamefaced girl lisped. Mary had a little lamp, etc., perfumed and compassion inspiring Tursi, got her meed of applause, and sat down flushed and happy. Tom Sawyer stepped forward with tonsed confidence and soared into the intractable and indestructible. "Get me liberty or get me death" speech, with fine fury and frantic gesticulations, and brought down in the middle of it a ghastly stage fright seized him. His legs cracked under him and he was like to shoot. True, he had the manifest sympathy of the house, but he had the house silence, too, which was even worse than its sympathy. The master frowned, and this completed the disaster. Tom struggled a while and then retired, utterly defeated. There was a great attempt at applause, but it died early. The boy stood on the running deck, followed also the Syrian clan down, and other declamatory hands. Then there were reading exercise and a spelling fight. The merry Latin class recited with honor. The prime feature of the evening was in order. Now, original compositions by the young ladies, each in her turn stepped forward to the edge of the platform, cleared her throat, held up her manuscript sheet with dainty ribbon, and proceeded to read, with elaborate attention to expression and punctuation. The tents were the same that had been illuminated upon similar occasions by their mothers before them, their grandmothers, and doubtless all their ancestors in the family line clear, but to the Trossachs friendship was one memories of other days. Religion in history, Greenland, the advantage of culture, form of political government compared and contrasted, melancholy, filial love, heart longings, etc., etc. A prevalent feature in these compositions was a nurtured and petite melancholy. Another was a wasteful and opulent use of fine language. Another was a tendency to look in by the heirs, particularly pride, wars, and parents, until they were worn entirely out, and a peculiarity that conspicuously marked at Mallet then was the inventory and intolerable sermon that wagged its triple tail at the end of each and every one of them, no matter what that subject might be. A brain-rattling effort was made to turn it into some aspect or other that the moral and religious men could contemplate with edifications. The roaring insincerity of these sermons was not sufficient to compass the banishment of the fashion from the school, and it is not sufficient to date. It never will be sufficient while the world stands. Perhaps there is no school in all our land where the young ladies do not feel obliged to close their compositions with a sermon, and you will find that the sermon of the most frivolous and the less religious girl in the school is always the longest and the most relentless pious. But enough of this family truth is unpalatable. Let us return to the examination. The first composition that was read was one entitled In This Then Life. Perhaps the reader can endure it and extract from it. In the common walls of life, with what delightful emotions does the youthful man look forward to some anticipated scene of festivity. Imagination is busy sketching rose-tinted pictures of joy. In fancy, the voluptuous pottery of fashion sees herself amid the festival throng, the observed of all observers. Her graceful form arrayed in snowy robes is whirling through the mazes of the joyous dance. Her age is virtuous, her step is lifted in the wide assembly. In such delicious fancies time quickly glides by, and the welcome hour arrives for her entrance into the Elysian world of which she has had such bright dreams. How, how fairy like does everything appear to her enchanted vision. Each new scene is more charming than the last, but after a while she finds that beneath this goodly exterior, or is vanity, the flattery which once charmed her soul, now grates harshly upon her ear. The ballroom has lost its charms, and wit was held an embittered heart. She turns away with the conviction that earthly pleasures cannot satisfy the longings of the soul, and so forth and so on. There was a booth of gratification from time to time during the reading, accompanied by whispered ejaculations of how sweet, how eloquent, so true, etc. And after the thing had closed with a peculiarly uplifting sermon, the applause was enthusiastic. Then arose a slim, melancholy girl whose face had the interesting balance that comes of pills and indigestion, and read a poem. To stand of it will do. A Missouri maiden's farewell to Alabama. Alabama, goodbye. I loved thee well, but yet for a while do I live the now. Suggest shadows of the my heart doth sit, and burning recollection strong my bone. For I have wandered through thy flowery woods, have roamed and read near Talabosa's stream, have listened to Halsey's wailing floods, and would on Tusa's side Aurora's hymn. Yet shame I not to bear an awful heart, nor blush to turn behind my cheerful eyes. This from a stranger land I now must part. This to no strangers left a year this size. Wilton and home were mine within this estate, whose base I live, whose spirits fast from me, and truth must be mine ages, and her, and treaty when there Alabama they turned truth on tree. There were very few there who know what treaty meant, but the point was very satisfactory, nevertheless.